Three, two, one.
Let me ask you, to go back a little bit, maybe to conspiracies again. You know, I think I would say the three big conspiracies of the United States would be probably JFK murder, moon landing, and 9/11. Uh, you know, when I was a kid, I liked the moon landing being fake. I loved the idea, especially one theory where Stanley Kubrick directed it because I love 2001. It was one of my favorite movies. Uh, that's of these three, the big ones, so to speak. Which one maybe? Because there are multiple. Like I said, there is we think moon landing is fake, but there are different schools of what happened is
Yeah.
fake moonlight.
Yeah, the fake moon landing, the support for that is pretty low compared to 9/11 truth, which itself
Yeah,
was
obviously during time.
yeah. Even that 9/11 truthism has faded quite a bit, as well as the birtherism after Trump's first election. The birtherism and the truthism stuff kind of faded. The JFK stuff has stayed quite active. In fact, Trump was going to release all of the paperwork, government files on that in his first administration, but he didn't. His Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, talked him out of it. Why? Well, I suspect if we're going to find anything, it's going to be something that's embarrassing to the Kennedy family. I mean, maybe there's more autopsy photos or, something that, or more likely it's that the CIA knew a lot more, or maybe the FBI or both. Intelligence agencies knew a lot more about Oswald, and they should have anticipated his actions, and they didn't. In other words, it was a failure of intelligence on the part of the United States government to protect the president. And or my third option is that the CIA was up to things in terms of foreign policy with other countries, rigging elections, assassinating foreign leaders, things like that they were doing. And maybe the additional files reveal something additionally embarrassing. Like the stuff that came out in the 70s, 1977 with the church committee, church hearings about JFK, about like projects in which the CIA was involved in assassinating foreign leaders in South America and elsewhere, rigging elections in third world countries where there was, say, a fascist dictator and a communist dictator competing for power, or the 1953 coup, in which the democratically elected, I guess, prime minister, president, whatever, was overthrown, and the Shah of Iran was put in his place. Well, how did that happen? Well, the CIA was involved in that, along with MI6, and if there's anything to the JFK files, it's going to be something like that. That the CIA was doing what? They weren't planning to kill their own president, but they were planning to do these other things that's kind of embarrassing to the U.S. government. Something like that.
Yeah, but isn't it already embarrassing enough that whole security agency, the best security agency maybe in the world, couldn't stop just one single guy?
Well, yeah, I think that's what bothers a lot of people. But the fact is, they can't do anything about that. Why can't there be, an early detection alert for school shooters? You can't, because we can't predict. You can't make those kind of predictions. Who's going to be the next serial killer? Who knows? Who's going to shoot up a school? Who knows? Where's the next terrorist attack? There's only so much anybody can do in a free society in which you want to allow people to drive on the roads freely on public roads. And, you want a mail system that protects people's privacy of their mail and their phone calls and so on. And, you could have a program, a government in which you capture every possible terrorist and school shooter and serial killer or whatever. But you'd have to have a Stasi type state, where every single person is surveilled carefully. It'd have to be like China. China with a camera on every street corner, Every single house, facial recognition software, they know what every single citizen is doing all of the time.
Camera
Okay.
per 2 citizens.
Say that again?
I think the goal is to have a camera per 2 citizens.
Yes, right. Yes, right. Exactly. Yeah. So, what is that? 750 million cameras or. Yeah. So, I mean, do you want to live in a state like that? No, I don't. So, well, you're going to have to put up with the mass shootings and just the crazy shit that happens. It's just the way it is.
And what about arguments concretely about JFK Assassination, like famous Zapruder film and the magic bullet theory, that there are more shooters and confessions
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
How does that influence this whole conspiracy?
I have a whole chapter in my book right there, Conspiracy, on JFK Assassination. I go through all those, and I just have a single chapter. It's, maybe 10,000 words long. I could write 100,000 words. I could write 1,000,000 words. I mean, there's whole books about this. Gerald Posner's book, Case Closed, really closes the case that it was Oswald. That was a full book. But Vincent Bugliosi's book, History Restored, I think it was. That's like 1,400 pages long. I mean, it's massive. I got the audio edition. It was abridged. It was only 27 hours long. Oh my God. And that covers all the conspiracy theories. So right off the bat, they can't all be right. If you think the KGB did it, then you can't possibly believe the CIA was also in cahoots with the KGB. What? And so on. So most of them contradict each other. And all of the evidence points to Oswald, 100%. I mean, he, at the very least, he was one of the shooters. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, was there a second shooter? Okay, well, show me where, what's your evidence for that? And the evidence is pretty weak, believe it or not. And it doesn't point to any one person, so people like Oliver Stone will say, or RFKJ, the CIA killed my father and my uncle. Okay, the CIA. Who in the CIA? We know who worked there. They're all government employees. We have their paychecks and their paperwork and so on. And, name names and show us that where's the paper trail. If you're going to hire somebody to assassinate a president, well, you got to pay him, or, there must be some memo or some meeting that somebody had that somebody talked about. And nobody is willing to come forward and say, yeah, I was the girlfriend of the guy that was the second shooter at the Grassy Knoll at Dealey Plaza, and here's what he told me happened. There's nothing like that. So okay, and WikiLeaks and all the other mass top secret classified documents that were illegally released, nothing in there about JFK being assassinated by the U.S. government or CIA or Johnson or the mafia or the KGB, any of that. And by the way, nothing also about the fake moon landing. In the WikiLeaks, you have just millions of top secret classified documents dating back decades of all the crazy stuff that our government was doing and intelligence agencies were up to. Nothing about, and by the way, we also faked the moon landing. Oh, what? Yeah. In addition to pulling a coup in Iran, we also faked the moon landing. Now, hang on. What was that last part? Let's look at it. Okay. Coups are one thing, but fake moon landing. Oh, come on.
Well, that's what really, I mean, I liked it. I said I liked it when I was a kid, but really when you grow up and know a little bit about anything, you're like, if somebody could fake that, like, wow. You know what I mean? That's like,
well, and so in a way, they're kind of self-contradictory that that the fakers, the filmmakers, the Stanley Kubrick or whoever did it, were so clever. They were able to fake all the zero gravity effects and all the stuff of the film footage from inside the spacecraft on the way to the moon and then bouncing around on the moon. But they're so dumb, they set up two lights, and so there was a weird shadow. Or they forgot that there's no air on the moon, and so the flag was waving. Oh, I mean, Kubrick was so stupid. He gave away these clues, right? I mean, come on, and by the way, to fake a moon landing, how many people would have to be in on it? They'd all have
Yeah,
to
that's the best part.
thousands of, non-disclosure agreements, NDAs that would have to be signed and enforced, and it just
And think about the Russians, or Soviets.
yes, the Russians would have said, no, we're not buying this. No, the Russians knew we did it. They tracked our own space. They knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
We stay genuine, uncensored, and unscripted, and we always will, as we have to order our usual. Share us and subscribe us, and stay tuned until the next Wednesday. IKUZO!